dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
For and everybody viewing this, welcome to our social studies video lesson. I'll be taking you through a unit we call social environment, and it's here, chapter 4, and under that we shall be looking at population. We shall in this lesson look at the meaning of population. We shall also look at the types of population. There are two of them. We shall be looking at the two types of population. We shall also look at factors that affect population distribution. Now, as you recall, in our previous lesson, we learned about population, and though it wasn't deep, but we talked about what population is. And here we shall look at population as the number of people, right? The number of people who live in a given area, usually per square kilometer. So population is simply the number of people living in a given area, usually per square kilometer. And as it will be shown here, that population is the number of people living in a given place, usually per square kilometer or mile. Good. Also, like I said before, that there are two types of population. Now, any guess? Well, these two types of population, one is sparse population and the other one is dense population. Now, when you talk about sparse population, it is a population where there are few people, living in a place that has got very few people living there. We call that type of population sparse population. So sparse population here is where few people living in a given area. And the picture I'm going to show you here is going to show what we refer to as sparse population, where we only have got very few houses, very few people living at a large given area. Now, as it can be seen here, you can see very large area, but look at the people who live there. Look at how many houses you can see. Well, your eye or your eyes can view and can see maybe one house and very few people, like two, as I can see here. So a place that has got few people living in there, that kind of population or that type of population is known as sparse population. Well, the second type of population is dense, like I had said before. So dense population, and it is the opposite of sparse. Sparse population, very few people living in there, while dense population is where there are many people living in a given area. Many people are living there. And how are we able to identify this? By looking at how many houses, or usually the number of houses or households. If you are able to view a given place and see very many buildings, very many houses, then that place has got large population. It has high population. So the population can either be sparse or dense. So here, the picture that is going to be shown here is showing a place that has got high population. This place here, or this type of population, is dense population. Dense population, like where we stay here in Hargeisa, we have very many buildings like this ones here, and therefore that means that the population in our district, the population here in Hargeisa, is high population or dense population. Some other places that have got very few houses have what we call sparse population. But the question is, what are the things that make a population to be dense or sparse population? These things, we call them factors. So we shall also be looking at factors that affect population distribution. Why do you think people may leave this place here and come to live here in this place. What are the factors that we shall be looking at that may cause population distribution? Now here, like I've told you, factors which affect population distribution. The first one, soil fertility. Soil fertility. And what is soil fertility? When the soil is fertile, people can do farming, they can grow crops. Now, if the soil is fertile in the district, it attracts many farmers and nomadic people. That means many people will come and live in that place so that they can do farming. Another factor is water. So whenever there is water, that means that people will come and live in that place. And our explanation here is that all living things need water. Human beings, animals, plants need water. And therefore, it means that if there is water in a given place, many people will come and stay there. Many people will come and live there. That will make the population to be dense population. So here we say that districts which have permanent water have big population. Big population is the same as high population or dense population. Good. We also have climate. Last time we looked at climate and we said the climate can be hot or cold or cool, like that, or warm. So this means that cool climate attracts high population. We say that cool climate attracts high population. Now, cool climate, that means that it's not hot, and therefore people will like to live in places that are very cool, places which are not hot. Therefore, cool climate will attract high population, while very hot or very cold climate will discourage people from living there. People do not like living in very hot areas or very cold areas, so they may shift, they may move and go to live in places which are cool. Then the other factor here, like you can see, is relief. And if we ask ourselves, what is relief? Now, relief include things like mountains, hills, lakes, rivers, and oceans. Now, when we talk about relief and how it affects population, you understand that people will not go to live on top of a mountain. Instead, they are going to live on a flat land, a place where it is easy to build houses and towns. Now, in our explanation here, we say that relief includes things like rivers, hills, and valleys, like I had said before. And therefore, people do not live on top of mountains or valleys. Where do they live? We shall look at that. And this means that people would like to live in places which do not have mountains. So if you look at this picture here, in our picture, you realize that there is a mountain here, this mountain. And are there any buildings? No. Are there people living on top of this mountain? No. That means that people would not wish to live on top of mountains, and therefore this means that these people here will prefer to live where the place is flat. So if you look at the bottom of that mountain, where a place is flat, that's where people would wish to live. And therefore it means that relief plays an important role, very important role. Now, to try and look at these factors again that affect the population distribution, like we've said, is that normally whenever we talk about population, like you've said in our lesson today, population means the number of people living in a given area, usually per square kilometer or per square mile. And we said that there are two types of population distribution. One, we said sparse population. Okay, and two, we said dense population. And between the two, one has very few people living there, and that is sparse. Sparse population has very few people living in there, while dense population has very many people living there. And these factors, things that make people to go and settle in a given place, we discussed about them, and we said that people can go to live in a given area because of climate. We said they can do that because of water, and we said that places which have got water will attract people to live in there, especially permanent water. And we said also that about climate, places that have got cool climate will attract many people. The population will be dense or high, right? We also talked about relief features, which include mountains and valleys, that places which have got relief features like mountains will discourage people to live there, but people will wish to live in places that have flat landscape, places which have flat land, so that they can build roads, they can build schools and houses to live in. That marks the end of our lesson today. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time.